Yichen woke up in the middle of the night and found himself transformed into a young boy with a busted girl lying beside him. Was Yichen dreaming? It turns out the man's name is Yichen, who has been reborn into the world of cultivation called the Tianqian continent. The sect Yichen belongs to is a low-level force called Xianyuan Holy Land. There are Yuxiao, Shenting, Tianqi, and Xianyao 4 peaks in Xianyuan Holy Land, and his mother is Yiqingwu, the leader of Xianyao Peak. She has numerous disciples under her, all of them women. She has 7 close disciples, all of whom are as beautiful as the world with extraordinary temperament, known as 7 beauties of immortal destiny. The 7 senior sisters love Yichen very much, and they always take turns to take care of Yichen. After all, he was only 7 years old. Today, the one accompanying Yichen is his 4th senior sister, Yulingxi. Just as Yichen was about to enter a trance, a system prompt sounded in his mind. Host, welcome to the Tianqian continent. Activating the supreme holy body. Activating. In the next moment, Yichen's heart felt as if it was being scorched by a raging fire, causing him to collapse to the ground and roll around in pain. Unexpectedly, he had to begin cultivating right after crossing over. At this moment, the system sounded another prompt. Host, I have now added Xianhuang martial arts to your memory. Please practice as soon as possible. Remember to adjust your breath and chi to avoid exploding body and death. Yichen followed the Xianhuang martial arts provided by the system, managing to stabilize the rampant energy. The supreme immortal body is a rare physique for 10,000 years, able to absorb the heaven and earth's spiritual energy into its own cultivation in a matter of breath. Xianhuang arts is a collection of supreme martial arts. It can be guided by luck and changes magically after being practiced. It can move mountains and seas, shocking the sky and the earth. The combination of these 2 artifacts is simply extraordinary. Congratulations to the host. The cultivation method has just been completed, and the current cultivation level is the first level of the nascent soul stage. The system will be activated immediately, and the check-in task will be issued. The cultivation base is made up of chi refining, foundation building, core formation, nascent soul, god transformation, Dongxian, Mahayana gods, and 9 trials of tribulation. Little Yichen originally had no cultivation. Even if talented, to advance to the nascent soul stage will take at least 30 years. Unexpectedly, within just a few hours, Yichen not only advanced to the nascent soul stage, but also grew bigger in size. At this moment, his 4th senior sister also woke up. If she were to discover Yichen's sudden growth, it would be disastrous. In this critical moment, the system prompt sounded ding. The host has completed the 4th sister's boudoir check-in task and obtained the permanent item, illusion charm. Sticking it on the body can make others have illusions about themselves, and neither vision nor touch can distinguish from reality. It can be used to disguise the identity of different body types. In a hurry, Yichen stuck the illusion charm onto his forehead. 4th senior sister looked at Yichen in surprise and said, "Why are you sitting on the ground? Why are your clothes all torn?" Yichen secretly let out a sigh of relief, thinking that the illusion charm must have worked. He then explained that he might have fallen down while sleepwalking. 4th senior sister immediately picked up Yichen and said, "I'm sorry, senior sister didn't take good care of Yichen, which made you hurt from a fall. Why do I feel that you have become heavier?" Yichen hurriedly replied in panic, "I ate too much last night." 4th senior sister turned around and said, "So you've gained weight. It's early morning. Get up, and your mother will be happy again." At this moment, Yichen received a system-issued sign-in task. System reminder, now issue a task to the host. Follow the 5th sister to learn alchemy skills. Yichen then turned his head and looked at the 4th senior sister. 4th sister, do you have any plans for today? I would like to. 4th senior sister, wearing a coat, replied, "I'll still practice meditation and cultivation. What do you want to do?" Yichen didn't pay attention to her words anymore because her back was just too beautiful. 4th senior sister saw that Yichen didn't speak, so she turned her head and looked at Yichen gently. Her smile directly hit Yichen's heart, and blood couldn't help but gush out from his nose. Seeing Yichen faint, 4th senior sister hurriedly carried him to his mother's palace. Yiqingwu also became panicked upon seeing this. 4th senior sister quickly explained that Yichen was fine when he woke up in the morning, but suddenly fainted with a nosebleed and had a strange smile on his face. At this time, Yichen was still thinking, "Why did you put me down?" Yiqingwu took out a pill nervously and said, "It's probably a side effect from little Chen's past cultivation. I hope this Waling pill that Yichen got from Medicine King Valley can help him." She then stuffed the pill into Yichen's mouth and waited anxiously with 4th senior sister for the pill to take effect. Meanwhile, Yichen pretended to have a stomachache, turned over, and secretly spit out the pill. He also removed the illusion charm that controlled his body size. The next moment, a strong burst of light erupted from Yichen as the center. After a while, Yichen returned to his original size as a young man. He then pretended to be shocked and asked excitedly, "Mother, what medicine did you give me? It's amazing." Suddenly, 4th senior sister raised her fist and charged at Yichen, shouting, "Who the hell are you? What did you do to my Yichen?" But now, Yichen had already reached the nascent soul stage in his cultivation, and he easily blocked her attack. Yichen immediately explained to 4th senior sister, "It's really me. You have a mole on the bottom of your foot. This can prove it, right?" Upon hearing this, 4th senior sister was shocked. Even the master doesn't know about this. Only Yichen. "Are you really Yichen?" Yiqingwu, with shining eyes, embraced Yichen. "I feel it. The aura in my son's body is surging, which is rare in the world. My little Chen, finally able to practice martial arts." However, Yichen said, I want to learn disguise first." Yiqingwu looked at Yichen with a puzzled face. So Yichen explained, "I suddenly had such an adventure. It is inevitable that I will be envied by others. Learning the disguise can save my life in a critical moment." Yiqingwu rubbed Yichen's head. "It makes sense. My son has considered things so thoughtfully. Then you go to learn the art of disguise with the 3rd senior sister." Watching Yichen's departing figure, 4th senior sister still couldn't believe the child who hugged and slept with me last night suddenly turned into a handsome boy. Suddenly, 4th senior sister's face turned red as if she thought of something. "Oh no, I'm afraid something will happen if Yichen falls into the hands of 3rd sister." Meanwhile, in another courtyard, a charming fairy sneezed. "What's going on? How can I, a cultivator, catch a cold?" At this time, Yichen was going to 3rd senior sister's residence to learn the art of disguise. Unexpectedly, he ran into 3rd senior sister changing clothes. Frightened, Yichen hurriedly apologized, and Miaohan, however, didn't mind at all and said, "It's not the first time Yichen has seen this." Then she went on busying herself. Seeing this, Yichen blushed and said, I've taken the potion mother brought, and I'm not the same as before." Upon hearing this, and Miaohan looked at Yichen carefully for a while, and then replied, "It's really nice, taller, more handsome, also long." Yichen, being praised like this, blushed even more and couldn't look her in the eye, afraid that she might eat him up. But Miaohan seemed not to care and continued teasing, "Also become handsome. Yichen looks more and more delicious." Yichen thought that 3rd senior sister was indeed a master of charm arts, every word and action filled with endless imagination. Suddenly, and Miaohan changed the subject. "You came to me to learn the art of disguise, right?" "Yes, I would like to ask 3rd sister to teach me." "To learn the art of disguise, you must be proficient in the 4 phases of the face: skin, muscles, bones, and tendons. You have to learn these books before you can learn them." However, when Yichen opened the books, he couldn't understand them at all. This stuff was more complicated than math, and with the watchful 3rd senior sister staring at Yichen, it was impossible to study quietly. After some consideration, Yichen decided to take the book back to study, but was stopped by 3rd senior sister. Following that, she said, "Sister's books are top secret. You can't take them out of this room, so you can stay and read them slowly. You can stay overnight." Forced by Miaohan's pressure, Yichen reluctantly stayed behind. All of this was for Yichen to learn the art of disguise sooner. After a while, and Miaohan, feeling too hot, left the room. Yichen thought to himself, "Can you be hotter than me? And after so long, I still can't concentrate on reading." Suddenly, someone outside the room said, "3rd senior sister, master ordered everyone to gather in the meeting hall." Yichen hurried out to ask the maid what had happened. The maid said, "Ding Weiyang came looking for something again and asked us to prepare a birthday gift for Master Yu Xiaofeng according to the list he made." Before Yichen could continue asking, he heard 3rd senior sister shouting angrily behind him, "Damn Yu Xiaofeng, do they really think we are inferior to them? Let's go. I'd like to see what he wants to stir up in Xianyao Peak." She came over, holding a whip with murderous intent. Yichen was curious to see what they wanted to do at Xianyao Peak. At that moment, Ding Weiyang was sitting arrogantly in the meeting hall, scolding, "How many days have passed? All you have to do is prepare this crap. What are you doing?" Yiqingwu, the peak master, said with embarrassment, "This is Xianyao Feng's intention for the birthday of Lord. It's all valuable herbs too." The next moment, half a peach hit Yiqingwu on the head. Ding Weiyang continued to curse, "Bullshit. Is this the crap I told you to prepare?" 4th senior sister Yulingxi became angry upon seeing this. "You little elder, how dare you disrespect the peak master?" If it weren't for Yiqingwu holding her back, they might have started fighting. Ding Weiyang didn't expect Yulingxi to dare defy him and threaten. "Yulingxi, you dare to talk to me like that because you don't want to be in the holy land of Xianyuan, do you? Which of the 4 peaks of Xianyuan can only survive under the shade of our Yu Xiao Peak? Are you worthy of yelling at me?" At that moment, 3rd senior sister and Miaohan arrived and immediately retorted. From a long distance, I heard a dog barking. It turned out that a male dog had sneaked in. Ding Weiyang trembled with rage. Good, you've gone rogue. I'm going to report to the master. Next month you won't get even half a tael of silver. After saying that, he intended to leave. Yi Qingwu hurriedly apologized behind him, saying, Elder Ding, calm down. It was all a misunderstanding. We would like to make an apology, and please don't make trouble with Master Chen. Upon hearing this, Ding Weiyang stopped and coldly snorted. Huh, make an apology? How can you make up for this gift? I don't know what you want, but as long as we have it, we will give it to you. I heard that junior sister is very good at charm. If she can serve me well, I will be happy. I'll forgive you. Unexpectedly, and Yaohan agreed without hesitation. Yi Qingwu didn't even have time to stop her, and Yaohan then approached and seductively said, however, my methods are too strong. I am afraid that Elder Ding will not be able to bear the loss of vitality. I have a sister who also learned my arts. Would you like to give it a try? Upon hearing this, Ding Weiyang nodded repeatedly. Then, they saw a stunning woman approaching. Senior sister, what do you need me for? Xiao Dai, give this elder a set of mind-blowing, bone-crunching **X. Yes, Elder Ding, please follow me. At this moment, Ding Weiyang was already mesmerized and followed Xiao Dai. After the two left, and Yaohan suddenly laughed with a sense of schadenfreude. The two people behind were puzzled. Who is this? I don't remember this disciple in Xianyao Peak. How come we have never seen this disciple before? A moment later, Xiao Dai beckoned to Elder Ding from the bedside, saying, Elder Ding, come quickly. Ding Weiyang could no longer resist and immediately pounced on her. However, to his surprise, she revealed something even bigger than his. The next moment, he was kicked out of the room. Ding Weiyang, covering his stomach in pain and trembling, said, you are actually a man. There is a man in Xianyao Peak. The person disguised as a woman was Yi Chen, who said with a smile, it seems that the art of disguise is very successful. Ding Weiyang was suddenly furious and shouted, I'm going to report to the Peak Master for a heavy punishment. Yi Chen kicked him again and yelled, then what the hell are you doing here? Yi Chen attacked and injured the troublemaker Elder Yu Xiaofeng and Ding Weiyang, but soon this incident reached the ears of Elder Yu Xiaofeng, so the three elders brought the injured Ding Weiyang to Xianyao Peak to investigate the matter. Ding Weiyang angrily shouted, Xianyao Peak is a place for female disciples to train solely, yet males are also there. That's outrageous. It must be investigated. But Yi Qingwu insisted that there were no men on Xianyao Peak. Ding Weiyang, furious, slammed the table. It's your junior sister Xiao Dai. She's a man in disguise. Xiao Dai, there's no one by that name on Xianyao Peak. Elder Ding, don't speak nonsense. You're pretending to be confused, aren't you? You just asked her to take me to. Ding Weiyang's words were cut off suddenly, startled. Seeing this, and Yaohan asked, to do what? Keep talking, Elder Ding. I also want to know why you appeared next to the medicated bathroom of our Xianyao Peak female disciples wearing only underwear. According to the regulations, the disciples of the outer peak are not allowed to approach the training room of the female disciples of Xianyao Peak, not to mention the place where everyone bathes naked. Ding Weiyang is at a loss for words at this moment. He couldn't squeeze out a single word for quite a while. Elder Zhanglu also noticed that something was wrong. He immediately asked Ding Weiyang what he was doing over there. Ding Weiyang thought, fuck, I definitely can't say that I was tricked into asking for that. If I let Elder Zhanglu know, I will die. If Elder Zhanglu finds out, it's all over. Seeing Ding Weiyang remain silent, the three elders had a hunch. They guessed that this guy was probably caught while trying to peek, because they knew, at Xianyao Peak, other than the little boy Yi Chen, there were no other males. After discussing, they finally declared it a misunderstanding. After Ding Weiyang apologized, the matter was settled. Third senior sister, your move is too clever. That bastard Ding Weiyang, never try to make trouble again in the future. I can't think of such a brilliant plan. Whose idea was that? It's Yi Chen. He said he intended to make Ding Weiyang suffer, and he did so. It seems that we can no longer treat him as a little kid. Meanwhile, Yi Chen was in a study, reflecting on the recent battle. Suddenly, the system congratulated the host for completing the sign-in task. Congratulations to the host. You completed the learn disguise technique sign-in task and received a reward, mastery of puppetry plus 15 experience. As soon as the words fell in Yi Chen's mind, he had all the knowledge to create puppetry. Yi Chen didn't know yet. Third senior sister and fourth senior sister were secretly hiding outside the door. Yu Lingxi whispered, is it really okay for us to sneak around like this? And Miaohan didn't care. How else can we find out little Chen's secret? I suspect that Yi Chen must have received some strange technique to change so much overnight. Maybe he's in there right now secretly practicing. That makes sense. A moment later, there was indeed a strange noise coming from the room. Now if we rush in, we can uncover his unknown secret. And Miaohan suddenly pushed the door open and shouted, I've got you now. They saw Yi Chen with both hands on the female puppetry's thighs, not knowing what he wanted to do. These two heavenly beautiful women were Yi Chen's senior sisters, but they told Yi Chen that they could help with his physiological needs. Yi Chen explained it was a misunderstanding. The doll was a puppetry made by Yi Chen. It turned out that Yi Chen had just learned the mastery of puppetry and was about to try it out, but was mistaken for releasing the pressure inside. After listening to the explanation, both women were shocked. The mastery of puppetry is profound and unfathomable. No one in the entire Xianyuan Holy Land understands it. This young boy actually figured it out on his own, and it seems that it has a very high completion rate, possessing a certain level of wisdom. Seeing the surprised expressions of his senior sisters, Yi Chen realized how amazing this mastery of puppetry was. It seems that he should keep a low profile in the future. Then, third senior sister Miaohan curiously asked, what are the 5 grooves on the puppetry's body for? They are the upgrade interfaces reserved by Yi Chen for Xingyi. In the future, suitable energy crystals can be installed, and it can be upgraded to a battle form while proudly introducing the puppetry. The system issued another task. Now issue the task to the host. Go to the back mountain and sign in under the 1,000-year-old pine tree to prevent others from noticing that Xingyi is a puppetry. Yi Chen borrowed a set of clothes from third senior sister. Then, he headed to the back mountain. The back mountain was even bigger than Yi Chen had imagined. Where should he look for the 1,000-year-old pine tree? Xingyi, let's split up and call me if you find it. Although Xingyi has no cultivation, but because he inherited Yi Chen's true essence, the two can connect with each other. The scene changes. Ding Weiyang, with his relentless evil intentions, actually targeted Xingyi, taking advantage of her unpreparedness. He struck Xingyi's back with a palm. Ding Weiyang threatened, tell me honestly, is your Xianyao Peak hiding a man? However, she didn't respond. No response. Do you look down on me? Damn, not even a little disciple is afraid of me. Well, it looks like you're going to have to suffer a little bit. That man gives me nightmares. So today you'll pay the debt. Let's see your face, little one. After Ding Weiyang lifted the skirt, inside there were constantly rotating gears. This structure is not quite the same as what I saw in the book. At this moment, Yi Chen arrived in time and kicked away this despicable fellow. Ding Weiyang, you sneaked up to Xianyao Peak to attack female disciples. It seems you're tired of living. However, Ding Weiyang laughed instead of getting angry. You finally showed up. It seems that what happened to me was not an illusion. Last time I was caught off guard by your attack. This time, it's time for you to know my strength. Ding Weiyang had a cultivation level of nascent soul stage 3rd layer, immediately adjusted his state and swung a sword at Yi Chen. Although Yi Chen had a cultivation level of nascent soul stage 1st layer, he had no suitable weapon at hand and could only keep dodging. When Ding Weiyang saw that he couldn't hit Yi Chen for a long time, he taunted, you little bastard, you run pretty fast. You think there's nothing I can do if you keep running? Keep going. This is not enough, does it? Yes, the supreme immortal body can absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth in a breath. I can't beat him, but I can wear him out. Although Ding Weiyang didn't know what Yi Chen's gesture meant, he felt very angry. Originally, he wanted to capture you alive for a confrontation, but now it seems unnecessary. After saying that, he concentrated his spiritual power into the sword and then suddenly swung out a sword chi that was dozens of meters long. The speed was so fast that there was no time to dodge. In a moment of desperation, Yi Chen grabbed a rock and infused it with spiritual energy, then swung out forcefully, successfully blocking the attack. This scene left Ding Weiyang dumbfounded. You, what kind of move is that? You call this a fucking move? Just pick up a stone and use it. It's like a child's fight. Yi Chen retorted sarcastically. Who said that only fancy ones can be considered moves? If it works, it works. It's much more useful than your flashy techniques. This time, Ding Weiyang was truly furious, daring to insult his signature technique like that. He then swung out several sword chi in succession. Seeing the situation, Yi Chen remained calm. That was exactly the effect he wanted. If you compete with Yi Chen in spiritual energy, you're bound to lose. Just like before, Yi Chen used rocks to block all the sword chi. At this moment, Ding Weiyang was already panting for breath, thinking to himself, this kid is obviously not as strong as me, but how come he has so much chi? When he came to his senses, a huge rock was flying towards him, but he split it in half with a single sword strike. However, Yi Chen had already hidden behind the huge rock. By the time Ding Weiyang discovered it, it was too late. Then a palm strike hit his chest. The force was so great that it barely stopped after hitting the huge rock, but when the smoke cleared, the figure had already vanished without a trace. His escape skills were top-notch. At this moment, Yi Chen was still unaware that his recent battle had been witnessed by a mysterious, powerful figure. They murmured to themselves, it seems that there is a remarkable guy among the disciples. Yi Chen went to the back mountain in order to complete the the sign-in task and search for the 1,000-year-old pine tree. Soon, he found a tree with its own halo. As he approached, the system prompted, "Congratulations to the host who has completed the designated sign-in and gained the skill mastering the world chess game." Ichin was very frustrated. What's the use of playing chess for someone who cultivates? He regretted coming at all. But at that moment, a chessboard suddenly appeared behind him. Ichin thought it was a test arranged by the system, so he stepped forward. With the help of the skill, he found the solution after only a short period of thinking. Someone said, "Black wins." In the next second, the chessboard began to crack as if something was about to break free. Then, a beautiful woman with a large chest burst out from the chessboard, cheering happily. "Finally, someone has solved this chess game, and I am free." Seeing the beautiful woman flying in the sky, Ichin was momentarily stunned. Singi instinctively stepped forward to protect Ichin. The beautiful woman spoke first, asking, "Which peak's disciple are you?" Ichin did not dare to neglect her and respectfully replied, "Greetings, I am a disciple of Xianyao Peak. My name is Ichin." The beautiful woman was very puzzled. When did Xianyao Peak start accepting male disciples? Ichin saw that her intentions were unclear and cautiously replied, "I was admitted as an exception." To his surprise, she not only did not blame him, but also praised the decision, telling Ichin to thank his master on her behalf. Ichin became even more confused and asked, "I also haven't asked who are you?" The beautiful woman revealed a captivating smile, and in the next moment, she appeared in front of Ichin. "I am the third-generation master of Immortal's Edge. I lost to Wang Zilji, the chess immortal, by a piece. Afterwards, I spent my whole life trying to break this game, but I couldn't do it until I died. Because of my deep obsession, my soul was trapped in this game, unable to reincarnate for thousands of years. My wish is granted." As she spoke, she suddenly kissed him. Ichin was momentarily dazed by this sudden happiness. When he regained his senses, the beautiful woman had already left his side. Ichin was secretly surprised. The third-generation head, isn't that the ancestor of the current head? Then he remembered, "Let me see if there's any reward I can give you." After a moment, the beautiful woman threw a jade pendant to Ichin and said, "Take this jade pendant. Even the current elders will be at your disposal. Farewell, I can finally be free." After doing all this, she had no more lingering attachments in her heart, and her soul gradually dissipated as it was liberated. Ichin also said, "Disciple respectfully sends greetings, great master." Unexpectedly, the beautiful woman became anxious at the end. "Remember, from now on, you are my disciple and the supreme elder of the immortal land." Ichin looked at the jade pendant in his hand, and his heart was already filled with joy. This is too European style, signing in and signing out as the supreme elder. Who in Sanyuan Holy Land would dare to mess with Ichin? Suddenly, Ichin sensed someone quickly approaching and immediately pulled Xing to run towards the woods. Moments later, an astonishing wave of energy descended from the sky, and the visitor turned out to be Ding Wuyan. Both of them clearly sensed familiar spiritual energy fluctuations in the surroundings. Ding Wuyan speculated that Ichin was up to something because he was the only one who had appeared nearby recently. At this moment, Ichin hid behind a tree, observing the help Ding Wuyan had called for. The current head was Yu Xiaofeng. Ding Wuyan took the opportunity to add fuel to the fire. "The first thing, they didn't give you a gift for your birthday. After the man who violated the regulations is here, he must be beaten up." Hearing this, Yu Xiaofeng's expression turned cold. "I'm very uncomfortable with that chi just now. It is actually at the back mountain of Sanyao Peak, so I have to be on guard. It seems that it's time to bleed some blood on Sanyao Peak." At this moment, fourth senior sister Yulingxi was looking in the mirror, doubting whether her chest was too small. However, Ichin had no time to appreciate the scene, urgently wanting to know the whereabouts of his mother. Yulingxi frowned and said, "Rude, don't you know how to knock? Come in and see how my sister treats you." Ichin felt embarrassed in his heart but spoke seriously. "Time is running out. Yu Xiaofeng may have to play tricks." Moments later, Ichin arrived at third senior sister and Miaohan's room and told both of them the whole story. And Miaohan frowned. Master was indeed called to Yu Xiao Peak by the head, saying that it was something urgent. Is it a trap? Hearing this, Ichin rushed out of the room, wanting to find Yiqing Wu. The two senior sisters, afraid of exposing Yichen's male identity, urged him not to go. He had the jade pendant, so he could go anywhere in Sanyuan Holy Land. This reassured the two senior sisters, but they misunderstood Yichen's gesture, thinking that the young man had come up with another mischievous idea. At this moment, the various peak masters gathered in the conference hall with Yu Xiaofeng. "Greetings, senior." Yu Xiaofeng nodded. "Well, now that we're all here, let's get started." Yiqing Wu looked puzzled. "Master, where's my seat?" Unexpectedly, Ding Wuyan sneered. "Sinner Yiqing Wu, you still have a face to ask for a seat. Today's four peaks gathering is to decide the punishment for you, Sanyao Peak." Yiqing Wu instantly realized that this was a trap, but still retorted on the surface, "Elder Ding, what is the sin of my Sanyao Peak?" Ding Wuyan said while walking, "Crime number 1, Sanyao Peak has no shame, harboring a man to commit adultery. The second crime is that Sanyao Peak has no patriarchal rules and beat me, an elder. The third crime is that Sanyao Peak has treated the birthday of the sect master in a perfunctory manner without any respect." Yiqing Wu also didn't show any weakness. "Elder Ding, I didn't expect you to still be entangled in this matter. Then why did you appear in the practice room of my Sanyao Peak female disciple?" Ding Wuyan acted shamelessly. "What practice room? Why don't I know? I clearly saw a man who was being spooky and was beaten up by you all guys when I went to arrest him." Yiqing Wu trembled with anger. "You, how dare you turn your back on me?" Just then, the Tianqi Peak master interjected. "Ahem, Qing Wu Junior sister, I have to say what you did this time was really too much. You have to seriously apologize." The Shinting Peak master also echoed. "Exactly, it's outrageous." Finally, after the discussion, they proposed, "In my opinion, Sanyao Peak should hand over the man and pay 50,000 taels of silver and 10 tons of top-grade herbs as compensation." "What do you think? 50,000 taels and 10 tons of top-grade herbs? Sanyao Peak has been squeezed out for so many years, let alone 50,000 taels. Even 5,000 taels are hard to come by." At this moment, Yu Xiaofeng spoke up harshly. "It seems that Sanyao Peak wants to separate from Sanyuan Holy Land." Yiqing Wu hurriedly said, "Qing Wu, I dare not." Ding Wuyan took advantage of the situation and approached, looking very satisfied with Yiqing Wu's expression. He then said, "That's right, leaving the big tree of Sanyuan Holy Land, Sanyao Peak is nothing. If you really feel that you cannot get out, I can help you plead for mercy, as long as you are willing to accompany me." Just then, Yiqing appeared in time and kicked Ding Wuyan away once again. He then proceeded to punch and kick him relentlessly, as if he wanted to smash his face. Finally, with one last kick, he saved Ding Wuyan from the trouble of having children. Ding Wuyan fainted from the pain on the spot. Yiqing then placed his hands on his hips and said, "I heard you guys were looking for me. Grandpa is here." Fortunately, Yichen's appearance confirmed the issue of Sanyao Peak harboring a man. Upon Yu Xiaofeng's order, several disciples entered the hall. Yichen was not flustered at all. "How dare you make a scene in front of me?" He stomped his left foot, and everyone was repelled by the force. Yiqing Wu sensed the spiritual energy fluctuations, which clearly indicated the initial stage of the nascent soul realm. The Tianqi Peak master was also astonished, as Yichen was so young yet already had such cultivation. Seeing this, Yu Xiaofeng crushed the armrest in anger and charged at Yichen with a fierce momentum. Daring to act wildly in front of Yu Xiaofeng, "Watch as I cripple you." Yiqing Wu anxiously tried to stop the fight. "Brother, be merciful. Your cultivation is in the middle of the don't you stage. Yichen can't fight against you." As Yu Xiaofeng's fist was about to land on Yichen quickly took out the jade pendant. Upon seeing it, Yu Xiaofeng froze, looking as if he had seen a ghost. "Is this a token from the master? Anyone who dares to be disrespectful to the supreme elder should be beaten." Yichen immediately slapped Yu Xiaofeng, sending him flying. The Shinting Peak master expressed his doubts. The elders who are of the same generation as the ancestors have all become immortals. A supreme elder this young? It must be a liar. Suddenly, the spirit of the supreme elder emerged from the jade pendant. "King Liuzi, you are crazy. Don't you even recognize my token?" The three masters immediately knelt on the ground. "Greetings, master. Don't think I don't know the nasty things you two have done. It's only been a few years, but you've already ruined Sanyuan Holy Land. From now on, the supreme elder will be the supervisor. Any important matters must be reported to him, and his arrangements must be followed. Whoever is unconvinced, I will take him away." Upon hearing this, the three masters trembled with fear. Yichen smirked. "It is better to forget it after all. I live in Xianyao Peak, violated the rules, and these people are planning to enforce the rules of the section. But living in Xianyao Peak does have its flaws. I'd better live somewhere else. If everyone thinks that it is inappropriate for me to live in Xianyao Peak, then I will move in with you, Xiaozi." Hearing this, Yu Xiaofeng anxiously started kowtowing. They knew that from now on, they would have to curry favor with Yichen. Ding Wuyan tried to sneak away, but was caught by Yichen. Terrified, he immediately begged for mercy. Yichen said with a hint of malice, "Take it easy. I am very easygoing. The past can never be blamed." After saying this, he punched Ding Wuyan and warned, "If you dare to cause trouble for Xianyao Peak in the future, you'll be punished." At that moment, a system prompt appeared. "Congratulations to the host for completing the hidden check-in task. Arrive at Yu Peak Hall and obtain the reward, the ultimate mysterious sword Snow Wing Dot." Having dealt with the situation, Yichen and Yiqing Wu returned to Xianyao Peak. Yichen managed to brush off questions about the Supreme Elder's token, and Yi Ching Wu sighed. When your eldest sister comes out of seclusion and your second sister comes back from the secret realm, the other peaks will not dare to make trouble. Yi Chen reincarnated into a sect full of female disciples, and he had 7 senior sisters who loved him dearly. Originally, he was a man named Yi Chen. He was reborn into the world of cultivation, specifically the Tianxian continent. Yi Chen and his mother Yi Ching Wu had just returned to Xiangyao Peak when 4th senior sister Yu Lingxi told Yi Ching Wu some news. Master, something's happened. News just came in. The disciples we sent to the secret world were ambushed on their way back and suffered heavy losses. Second sister acted alone to halt the attacker as the other disciples retreated. It is unknown whether she is alive or dead. Yi Ching Wu was also shaken. Qingxia stayed behind to defend herself against the enemy. Where were they ambushed? Yu Lingxi quickly replied, 80 miles to the southwest. There's Fengshan Mountain. As soon as she finished speaking, Yi Chen rushed out despite Yi Ching Wu's dissuasion, declaring that he would go help. Since they know our route, they must have been completely prepared. It can't be the work of petty thieves. Lingxi, follow me to see the headmaster. After some consideration, the two hurried to Yu Xiaofeng. Meanwhile, on the other side, several men were chasing 2 women, 3rd senior sister and Miaohan and 2nd sister Qingxia, who had gone to provide support. Stay with this gentleman for a while. Beauty, one of the men behind them said as they quickly closed in. It looked like they were about to be caught when an earth escape technique suddenly appeared, sending the man flying, and Miaohan was overjoyed to see that it was Yi Chen who had arrived. 3rd senior sister, take 2nd sister and leave quickly. I'll cover the rear, Yi Chen said, and Miaohan felt the spiritual energy in Yi Chen's body and immediately flew away with Qingxia. Qingxia spoke with difficulty. The treasures we brought back from the secret world. Take it, and Miaohan replied helplessly. We must go back. It's important to save lives first. Of course, Yi Chen heard them. Don't worry, 2nd senior sister. I will definitely get back the things they stole with interest. The leader of the bandits was furious. Boy, you dare to come alone to save people? If you're smart, let me go, or I'll take you out. Yi Chen showed no weakness and said, how dare you rob a disciple of Xianyuan Holy Land? You thieves don't know how to write the word death, do you? The bandits all laughed and said, haha, I'm robbing Xianyuan Holy Land. Do you really think you're the same big sect from hundreds of years ago? Yi Chen heard this and came to a conclusion. It seems that they are not ordinary thieves, but are here for the Holy Land of Xianyuan. The treasure should have already been brought back by his accomplices, and if I want to get it back, I need someone to lead the way. The next moment, the bandits swarmed over. No wonder these people were so arrogant with only nascent soul stage cultivation. It turned out that their swords were coated with deadly poison. This was a perfect opportunity for Yi Chen to try out his new weapon's power. Yi Chen wanted to test the sword's power with a casual swing, but he almost wiped out the entire group. It turned out that the sword had a spiritual energy amplification effect. This early stage cultivation could produce the output of the top stage of God transformation. The leader of the bandits didn't dare to stay here and ran away with snot and tears. Yi Chen smiled weirdly and said, run away as hard as you can and go to your companions. After rescuing 2nd sister and 3rd senior sister, Yi Chen followed the bandit leader and found their stronghold. He learned that these people were disciples of Snow Eagle Sect. They let the people of Xianyuan Holy Land go to the secret realm to find treasures and then plan to take them over. The mastermind was none other than the elder of Snow Eagle Sect. Just then, the bandit leader came back in a panic and said, Elder, we were about to catch her along with the female disciple who came to rescue her, but then this guy came, at least at the top of the God transformation stage, killed more than a dozen of our disciples with one strike. The elder was shocked and asked, could it be that the lord of the 4 peaks of the Holy Land of Xianyao has arrived? No, that kid is only 17 or 18 years old, so he can't be the peak master, replied the bandit leader. The elder immediately knocked him down and said, nonsense, how can a teenage boy have the cultivation of a God transformation stage? You must have been so arrogant that you were killed by that little girl, so you made up this lie to justify yourself. Elder, if I tell half a lie, I will be hit with thunderbolt. As soon as he finished speaking, a thunderbolt struck. Just as the elder was about to kill the liar, Yi Chen appeared with thousands of lightning bolts. The elder was sweating profusely and asked, who is this man that can bring forth a heavenly phenomenon? The bandit leader immediately said, it's him. It's him who killed several of us with one move. He still managed to come here. Be careful. The elder was so angry that he punched him and said, you're the one who brought him here. What about the elder? It looks like he's here to ask for a punishment. I'm going to find out the truth. You guys hurry up and set up the formation. Listen to my signal. Then he approached Yi Chen, the elder in charge of Zhaixuang Daoist Wu Wei. May I ask why you were blocking us? Due to justice. How dare you? Do you know that after the Sanchuan River is where the Snow Eagle Sect is located? With just one person with a sword, you still dare to provoke us? It is simply. Before he could finish his sentence, Yi Chen swung a shocking sword strike. The sword energy grazed past the elder and split the river underneath them into 2 halves. One person and one sword were enough to break the river. The elder saw that the negotiation had broken down and shouted, and blamed me for being ruthless. Fuxian formation activate. However, Yi Chen smirked and said, are you calling them? Suddenly, several disciples who were setting up the formation were knocked down from the air without anyone noticing. The elder suddenly realized, you deliberately lured me closer to stall for time, so you used lightning to sneak up on them. As he spoke, Yi Chen's dagger hit his left shoulder, causing him to feel weak all over. It was evident that he had been poisoned. Yi Chen didn't hide anything and said, I picked this up from your disciples. Is this the ghostly sorrow poison? The elder immediately took out the antidote. He was afraid of the poison too. Yi Chen was waiting for him to take out the antidote. He struck him while he was off guard, and the antidote naturally fell into his hands. Now 2nd sister's poison could be cured. The elder was so angry that he gritted his teeth. He had never been played around like this before, especially by a little brat who hadn't even grown a beard yet. Yi Chen and the elder had already fought to a crucial moment, and the elder had a slight advantage in cultivation. However, he didn't know that Yi Chen had never used his full strength. With his full power, he defeated the elder with one move. The elder begged for mercy and said, Xianyuan Holy Land's treasures are in this storage ring. Yi Chen took the storage ring, feeling dissatisfied. The elder immediately took out his cherished water pearl, which he had treasured for many years. This is the water pearl that I have treasured for many years. It has the miraculous effect of harnessing water and driving waves. Please accept it. Yi Chen was finally satisfied and said, go back and send a message to your boss. If you dare to attack the Holy Land of Xianyuan again, I will directly dismantle your mountain gate. The elder quickly agreed. Yes, I will pass it on. Thanks for letting me go. Meanwhile, the 3 women were anxiously looking at the unconscious 2nd sister. Yi Ching Wu asked, Lingxi, how is the Qingxua falling? Yu Lingxi helplessly replied, this poison is called ghost seeing sorrow, and it is a strange poison in the world. Although I am well versed in medical skills, I cannot find an antidote. I'm afraid 2nd sister won't make it through tonight. Upon hearing this, Miaohan was shocked and said she was going to fight the beasts of Snow Eagle Sect. Unexpectedly, as soon as she stepped out, she ran into Yi Chen. Yi Chen asked, where are you going angrily? 3rd sister, I brought back the antidote. Give it to 2nd sister. Not only the antidote, but all the treasures that were taken away from us. And Miaohan was so excited that she rushed into Yi Chen's arms and exclaimed, Yi Chen, you're really great. Feeling the warmth of 3rd senior sister's embrace, Yi Chen felt that everything was worth it. On the other side, the elder had also returned to Snow Eagle Sect. The sect master of Snow Eagle Sect was extremely angry, as the person who leaked the information didn't tell him that there was such a powerful person in Xianyuan Holy Land. The losses suffered by the sect this time were severe, and he had to give an explanation. Just as everyone was praising Yi Chen, Yu Xiaofeng suddenly paid a visit. I heard that the team was attacked. I have been urgently dispatching troops, but I didn't expect that the senior brother had struck first. Thank you for your help. Yi Chen sneered. I was just a handful, but me Rongqing, the 2nd disciple of Xianyao Peak, was seriously injured in the fight. To cover the retreat of the disciples of the peaks, as the sect master, you should show your appreciation, right? Yu Xiaofeng broke out in a cold sweat. I came in a hurry and didn't prepare. I'll be sure to send someone to bring you some good medicine in 2 days. What 2 days? I think this jade pendant is suitable, Yi Chen said, holding out the jade pendant. And Miaohan explained that the jade pendant was a treasure treasured by the sect master and had the effect of dispelling poison and miasma, gathering qi and helping the spirit, which would show praise and encouragement to those who fight bravely to kill the enemy. Yu Xiaofeng knew he couldn't keep the jade pendant and handed it over to Yi Ching Wu with a smile. Yi Chen stretched and said, okay, the condolences condolences are over. You should hurry back to the mountain. After all, there are only female disciples here, so it will damage your reputation if words get out. However, Yu Xiaofeng's purpose in this trip was to collect rare treasures and exotic plants from the secret realm, which were now in Yi Chen's hands. And Miaohan was furious that the old bastard had come for their sex treasures. Yi Chen looked confused. The people of the Snow Eagle sect have taken them away. You have to go to them to ask for it. Yu Xiaofeng looked at the storage ring in Yi Chen's hand. Yes. At first, they were taken away by the Snow Eagles, but then you took them back again, didn't you? Yi Chen clarified. This is what I grabbed from the Snow Eagles. Your things are still in their hands. Upon hearing this, Yu Xiaofeng spurted out a mouthful of tomato sauce, realizing that he could not retrieve his treasures. It was simply outrageous. Yu Xiaofeng went home and smashed everything in anger, feeling the most humiliated since he became the sect master. Ding Weiyang said under pressure, Master, this senior is from an unknown background. As soon as he appeared, he got along with the people of Xiangyao Peak. If we don't solve it quickly, I'm afraid those women from Xiangyao Peak will threaten your position. What do you want to do? Since he popped up out of nowhere, let's find a way to make him disappear. If you agree, I will do it immediately. You have a solution. I promise. I will make that man's head fall to the ground within 3 days. Good. After the job is done, I will reward you. Meanwhile, Yi Chen and Xing Yi were strolling in the courtyard, and the system suddenly popped up. New mission to the host. Go to the Dragon Pond at the Tianqi Peak and complete the sign-in. So Yi Chen took Xing Yi and went there quietly at night. As Yi Chen flew with Xing Yi on his back, he suddenly sensed someone approaching quickly and immediately flew into the woods. Soon, several Tianqi Peak disciples appeared, and Yi Chen and Xing Yi hid in the bushes. Yi Chen realized it would be troublesome if they were discovered by the disciples of Tianqi Peak and decided not to fly with his sword anymore. After a while, Yi Chen successfully arrived at the Dragon Pond, but strangely, there was no prompt indicating that the mission was completed. He wondered if he had to jump into the water. At this moment, Xing Yi reminded him, Master, are you looking for that? Following her direction, he saw a set of women's revealing clothes placed next to the Dragon Pond. Yi Chen pulled Xing Yi and was about to leave without a word, but they were discovered before they could escape. However, why did the figure seem so familiar? Looking carefully, it turned out to be second sister Qingxie. Even Qingxie was surprised and asked, why did Yi Chen come here? Yi Chen asked first, second sister, did you get rid of the poison? Why are you resting? But you came to the middle of nowhere to take a bath. Qingxie replied, thanks to the antidote from you, the poison has almost been cleared, but I was also hit by the absolute flame palm of the Snow Eagle sect elders, and the fire poison in my body is raging. Only the extremely cold water of the Dragon Pond can heal my wounds. And why did you come here in the middle of the night? Did you follow me here to spy on your second sister's bath? Yi Chen quickly found an excuse. No, I am here to find treasure. I heard from Tanjiao that there's a secret treasure hidden under the Dragon Pond, so I want to try my luck. But what he really thought was, just find any reason to prevaricate. Let's fool the second sister away first. Qingxie's expression became serious. Even people who are good at swimming can't always get out of danger. Even if I only stay about 3 meters under the water, I can't go any lower. The Dragon Pond is very deep, and the water below is very powerful. This is not a place for you to play. Come back with me. She was about to pull Yi Chen back, but someone came just at that moment, and then 2 disciples arrived, but found no one around. One of them said, strange, I heard a noise over there. Let's go and check it out. It's too dark to see. Is there someone under the water? The disciples did not realize that Yi Chen and the others were hiding under the water, afraid that they would dive in to check. Suddenly, the 3 of them felt a huge suction force from under the water, and their bodies were uncontrollably dragged down. It was a disaster, and to avoid the 2 people above, they dived deeper than 3 meters. Yi Chen and the others were pulled by some mysterious force into the pool, and just as they were stabilizing themselves, they were shocked to see a monster jellyfish beneath them. The monster jellyfish wrapped its tentacles around second sister, and she fell into a coma. Fighting in the water was not good for Yi Chen, even though Xing Yi was unaffected. However, she had no combat abilities. Suddenly, Yi Chen remembered the water repellent pearl he obtained earlier. He thought of trying it out and embedded it into Xing Yi's body with a curious attitude. A terrifying force erupted from Xing Yi, causing the patrolling disciples to notice and rush to inform the Peak Lord. Just as Yi Chen and second sister were about to be swallowed into the jellyfish's stomach, Xing Yi displayed her power and broke off the tentacles. Yi Chen was overjoyed to see that his bet paid off, as Xing Yi now had the ability to control water. As Xing Yi showed her strength, she cut off the jellyfish's tentacles one by one, and it eventually died in her hands. Yi Chen then saw second sister in his arms and, without hesitation, used his mouth to supply her with oxygen. But before he could even warm his mouth, Xing Yi kindly created a water barrier, allowing them to reach the bottom of the pond. Yi Chen suddenly realized something was wrong and exclaimed, wait, isn't this pool of water bottomless? With 2 screams, the 3 of them fell to the bottom of the pond. To make matters worse, Xing Yi fell on top of Yi Chen's brother and almost fainted. She quickly apologized, but Yi Chen stubbornly said, I'm fine, I'm tough. He was reborn into a sect full of female disciples and had 7 senior sisters who adored him greatly. Originally, the man's name was Yi Chen. He was reborn into the world of cultivation, specifically the Tianqian continent. After Yi Chen and the others fell into the lake, he looked at second sister, who was drenched, and despite trying to control himself, he couldn't help but steal a few glances. Yi Chen discovered an unknown cave at the bottom of the pool. Just as he wondered who could have dug the hole, he sensed that someone had come to the shore. The commotion in the water attracted the attention of the peak master of Tianqi Peak, who unexpectedly sent someone to monitor the movements in the fallen dragon pond. Upon seeing this, Yi Chen hurriedly asked Xing Yi to restore the calmness of the water in the pool, and then followed the passage into a cave at the bottom of the pool, where he discovered a night pearl. Suddenly, the system prompted, congratulations to the host. You have found the hidden location, Sword Tomb, and received the reward of 10,000 swords, returning to Zone Ju. It was at this moment that second sister woke up, looking dazed and resembling a fairy who had just emerged from the water with her soaked appearance. She asked in confusion, what is this place? Yi Chen, however, looked foolish and couldn't help but steal several glances while also responding that he didn't know either. Suddenly, Qingxue rushed out as if she had discovered something. It was said that somewhere in the holy land of Xianyuan, there is a grave of the sect's founder. Their cultivation bases are extraordinary, and each of them conquers the world with a sword. They were buried together in a hidden place because they thought their disciples were not talented and no one could inherit their mantle. Following that, Qingxue attempted to touch the grave, thinking, after all these years, I wonder if anyone can inherit the sword of the predecessors. In the next moment, spiritual energy burst out from the sword, and Qingxue was suddenly puzzled, asking, what's going on here? Yi Chen rushed over to stand in front of Qingxue and warned her, watch out, this sword tomb must have an anti-intrusion spell. They're treating us like enemies. Xing Yi, hide behind me. Yi Chen looked serious. 10,000 swords flew towards them like a guided navigation, and Yi Chen released a golden protective shield. The sound of collision echoed constantly, while Qingxue struggled to defend herself behind Yi Chen. Yi Chen knew that second sister was still injured and wouldn't be able to hold on for long. He had to act fast before something happened. Thus, he used his ultimate technique and shouted, 10,000 swords, return. Got it. Yi Chen used the martial arts that he received from the system as a reward. Seniors, the younger generation will accept your magic weapon with a smile. However, this surprised Qingxue, who asked, Yi Chen, how did you do it? Yi Chen also looked puzzled and said, I just want them to return to their place. Why? Qingxue replied happily, it seems that you have the approval of the ancestors who are willing to give you their swords. Yi Chen bowed to the ancestors and said, I, Yi Chen, have received a lot of support. We will live up to your trust, strengthen the holy land of immortal fate, and regain its former glory. At this moment, spiritual flames appeared all around, which symbolized approval. Qingxue was scared and urged, let's hurry up and leave. Don't disturb the senior's peace. Yi Chen couldn't help but find it cute that his senior sister was afraid. He knew that they couldn't go back the same way since they might encounter an ambush. Yi Chen guessed that there must be other hidden passages in this place. Qingxue followed Yi Chen happily and asked, Little Chen, what kind of adventure did you have to grow so fast? Yi Chen couldn't explain it, so he lied and said, this. I am also very baffled. Just then, they saw an upward passage that probably led to the outside. A giant rock in the forest shook violently, and Yi Chen's head popped out from below. The exit is just by the pond not far away. As Yi Chen expected, someone was indeed lurking by the pond. Second senior sister, your sword is more severely damaged. Use mine. I'll take Xing Yi and follow you. At this moment, there were a few people sneaking around in another part of the back mountain. Surprisingly, it was the Snow Eagle sect who came to attack. Suddenly, a small fry next to them seemed to have discovered something. Qingxue Qingxue happened to fly over them at this moment. At this moment, she felt a slight hint of jealousy in her heart. If it wasn't for Xingyi, Xiaochen would be with me on the same sword. Calm down, Qingxue. What are you thinking about? Suddenly, there was a loud bang, and Qingxue was blasted down from the sky. Yi Chen, who was following behind, was very nervous when he saw the scene. He quickly rushed forward. It's you, little beauty. It seems like you can't escape from my palm. Upon hearing that familiar voice, she was instantly filled with fear. She was then held down by two little fries. Qingxue was furious. You're from the Snow Eagle sect. How dare you invade the Xianyuan Holy Land? However, the little baldy was full of himself. Xianyuan Holy Land is nothing. I'll kick Xianyao Peak to the ground today. At this moment, a young disciple next to him noticed something. Look, elder, this sword seems to be of the best quality. The little baldy didn't care at first. What can this chick's sword have? What? This sword's appearance is indeed extraordinary. But why do I feel that I have seen it somewhere? It looks familiar. Just as he was pondering, a figure appeared behind him. The sudden appearance of Yi Chen scared the baldy. Wow, it's you again. Yi Chen's face immediately turned cold. I didn't expect it to be you too. What? You didn't kowtow to me enough that day, so you're here again today? I don't have any money for you. The other party suddenly remembered the pain from that day. The little fries who came along heard the words and said a few words. Yi Chen opened his hand. I'm too lazy to talk nonsense with you, so let her go and give me back my sword. The baldy immediately changed his tone. Ha, boy, you are arrogant and domineering because of having this peerless sword. Now that the sword is in my hand, let's see what you can do. Then the 7 stars formation was activated. Qingxue was shocked to see this. Are you crazy? You actually used the 7-star formation on a child. Little Chen, run. The little baldy was excited for what this brat did to me. I wish I could cut him into pieces. The name is quite bluffing, but I don't know how powerful it is. Haha, you are so ignorant. This formation is the strongest sword formation of my Snow Eagle set. You are unarmed and have nowhere to hide, and you can only be cut into flesh by the rain of swords. Wouldn't it be wonderful? Haha, once activated, all the swords will transform into 7 sword shadows. However, Yi Chen remained calm and looked on. Alas, it is a blindfold. When death is imminent, you are still stubborn. Grind him for me. Activate 7-star formation. The disciples of Snow Eagle sect extended 2 fingers and began to cast a spell. Soon, countless sword lights surrounded Yi Chen's body. The situation seemed grim. It appeared that Yi Chen was not moving, and they thought he had been scared stiff. Second sister looked worried, and even Xingyi, who was hiding in the forest, could only watch helplessly. Yi Chen had instructed her not to show herself since her strength was too weak. Ding Weiyang, who liked to hide behind trees, was looking quite smug. Suddenly, Yi Chen slowly reached out his right hand and said, there are so many swords. Ha, and I'll let half of them for you to have. This scared Ding Weiyang, who exclaimed, what the hell is this? The bald leader ordered. It's just a bluff. The advantage is mine. The disciples do not hold back. Kill him. Yi Chen was worried that he wouldn't have a chance to test the power of his newly acquired skills, so he decided to use them on his opponents. After a brief exchange of blows, the disciples of Snow Eagle sect were surprised to discover that Yi Chen's sword was not only 10 times more powerful than theirs, but his sword energy was also far superior to theirs. They realized that they were at a disadvantage. Meanwhile, the system sent Yi Chen a message. Host, I now issue a designated check-in task to you. Expose the mastermind behind the scenes and subject the behind-the-scenes manipulator to palace punishment. The system was really naughty and seemed to be taking pleasure in rubbing salt in the wound. Even the bald leader saw Yi Chen's cunning expression and felt a sudden chill in his lower body, which made his legs tremble uncontrollably. He didn't know what was happening, but he had a premonition that something was not right. Yi Chen defeated his men with ease, and the bald leader realized that he had made a big mistake by coming to Xianyuan Holy Land. He tried to grab Qingxue and resist, but Yi Chen responded ruthlessly, and his sword shadow flew everywhere. He struck the bald leader with great force, leaving him no chance to defend himself. The people on the other side were frightened by the scene and quickly knelt down and begged for mercy. Yi Chen asked them, what are you doing here at Xianyuan Holy Land so late at night? The bald leader quickly explained, I came here with a man named Ding. He was able to shut down the spell. Yi Chen seemed to understand what was going on and suddenly noticed some movement in the distance. He immediately waved his hand, and his flying sword flew towards it. Unexpectedly, Ding Weiyang saw that the other party had revealed his betrayal and was about to flee, but the next moment he was hit by a flying sword, causing him to roll on the ground in pain and cry for his mother. Second sister was also surprised by the situation. Beast, no wonder our route back from the secret realm was known to the Snow Eagle sect. It turns out that you betrayed your fellow disciples. Ding Weiyang still didn't know how to behave and threw a bomb before fleeing for his life. Yi Chen pointed his sword at him and sent it flying towards him. With these flying swords, you still want to keep me as rootless? Floating weeds flying on grass. Unexpectedly, there was a sword that went directly towards his crotch, and he felt that the world was so beautiful in an instant. The system also sent a prompt at this time. Congratulations to the host. You have completed the designated sign-in task and received the Tianqian 9 sword skill. It was really him who was behind the scenes. Looking at the other party's helpless appearance, second sister thought that he was still the one in charge, so she let him handle it himself. Yi Chen also took little Baldy to confront him face to face. The scene shifted to Snow Eagle sect's council hall, where the Baldy number 2 was recounting Elder Wui's mission failure. On the other side, the red-clothed woman was hugging herself and saying, we can't let them continue to grow, otherwise they'll be a threat to both of us. Yi Chen threw the two of them aside and said, your disciples colluded with Snow Eagle sect and snuck into the Holy Land to plot some evil plans. How do you deal with this? Yu Xiaofeng was taken aback by this news and was just thinking about how to deal with it when Ding Weiyang suddenly burst out with the news that he was Yi Chen from Xianyao Peak. However, this news was unbelievable because Yi Chen was just a child. Yi Chen did not refute this and said, yes, I am Yi Chen, but that is not the point now. Master, your disciples colluded with Suingmen and snuck into the Holy Land to plot some evil plans. How do you deal with this? The little Baldy also spoke up and told the whole story. Yi Chen then threw him to the ground, and since there were witnesses present, they asked how to deal with the situation. However, Ding Weiyang was still being stubborn on the side, and Yu Xiaofeng immediately sent a shockwave at him, causing him to be knocked out on the spot. Yu Xiaofeng then thanked Yi Chen for his help and said that the younger generation who are unable to discipline must be severely punished. Yi Chen pulled second sister and left, and after they walked away, second sister asked Yi Chen unexpectedly the sect leader would hit with such a heavy hand. Ding Weiyang might. Yi Chen calmly replied, don't worry, he won't die. When a confidant colluded with outsiders, his first reaction was not to force him to reveal his secrets, but to beat him ruthlessly. Do you know what this means? This indicated that he already knew about Ding Weiyang's relationship with the Snow Eagle sect. He hit Ding Weiyang hard to catch us off guard. Qingxue felt a bit embarrassed when Yi Chen teased her, but she was also happy, and her face turned slightly red. After Yi Chen and second sister left, Ding Weiyang was rescued again. Yu Xiaofeng said to him, are you up already? Don't blame me for being mean. It's under everyone's watch. I have to give everyone an explanation. The injuries on your body have stabilized, but the Yang root is absolutely incurable. But that's okay. You just need to stay with me, and you won't need that thing in this life. I told you that I only used Shuang to retrieve the treasures brought back from the secret realm by the other 3 peaks, and don't contact me afterward. Why did you let them enter the Xianyuan Holy Land to deal with Xianyao Peak again? Once things get big, how should I clean up the mess as a sect leader? But it's not completely in vain. It turned out to be that brat Yi Chen. That surprised me a lot. I unexpectedly got toyed with by a brat. After all, we have to get rid of him first. You can send a message to the Snow Eagle sect and come back, and then you can recover from your injuries in peace. That fearless elder was abused and killed by Yi Chen of Xianyao Peak. The scene shifts, and at this moment, Yi Chen and his mother Yi Qingwu are having an intense discussion. Yi Qingwu is very angry. You mean the sect leader instructed Ding Weiyang to collude with the Snow Eagle sect? Yi Chen explains, it must be his plan to attack the Xianyuan Holy Land when his sister returns from the secret realm. After all, it was more profitable for him and the Snow Eagle sect to divide the spoils of the secret realm. But last night's attack on Xianyao Peak at night is not certain. However, what's certain is that the sect leader would definitely do something at the Xianyao Peak, and he had to be prepared to take strict precautions. Who dares to come to the Xianyao Peak to make trouble? I will definitely not spare it. Just then, there is a commotion outside, and upon seeing the arrival of another person, Yi Chen politely greets his senior sister. Xiao Xiao, who has just returned, looks curious and keeps studying Yi Chen. After all, it has only been a short time since they last met, and he has grown up so much. Did you have a secret that you can't tell anyone? However, Yi Chen has no way to explain, so he uses the old excuse. I took the medicine my mother gave me and suddenly grew up. As Xiao greets Yi Qingwu, Yi Chen immediately makes an excuse to retreat to practice in seclusion. Yi Qingwu is puzzled by this sudden move, but Xiao guesses that he is avoiding her. Meanwhile, in the closed-door cave on the back mountain, after Xingyi tidies up the place, Yi Chen lets her go back first. However, Xingyi does not notice a figure hiding behind her on the way back. Yi Chen recalls the memories of the original owner's body. Xiao Xiao and Yi Chen had the shortest age difference, and she treated Yi Chen with the most disrespect, often bullying him. I'd better hide from her so I don't have to get get in trouble. Suddenly, someone enters the cave, and Yi-Chen thinks it's Xingyi returning and is about to ask her something when he sees a face with an unfriendly expression. You left after my arrival, not to cultivate, but to avoid me, right? Tell me, how do you do it? Grow up overnight. What method do you use? Quickly tell me. Yi-Chen hastily swears that it's not intentional, but 7th senior sister says she understands. However, she still wants to know the truth and mentions that she really needs it herself. As a girl, she worries about her chest not being big enough. Yi-Chen must lead by example, and his dragon claw hand is not just for show. He was reborn into a sect full of female disciples and had 7 senior sisters who adored him greatly. Originally, the man's name was Yi-Chen. He was reborn into the world of cultivation, specifically the Tianxian continent. At this time, a group of people came to pay their respects to the mountain. A group of people wearing red clothes descended with a red light. Lu Qingshan, the 3rd great elder of the Red Dust Holy Land, and his disciples paid their respects to the elders of the Xianyuan Holy Land. Yu Xiaofeng stared straight at the girl with his thief-like eyes. There were so few disciples from the Red Dust Holy Land this year, and there were at least 50 disciples in previous years, said the 3rd sister. The 4th sister explained that it was because they couldn't get a good deal from us for years, so they just put on a show instead. 2nd sister said, I'll go first in the dinner competition. 4th sister said, among all the sisters, 2nd sister has the strongest swordsmanship. Qingxue sighed upon hearing this, realizing that her swordsmanship was not as good as Yi-Chen's, who was probably currently in closed-door cultivation. However, who knew that Yi-Chen was currently lying exhausted in someone's arms? Xiao doubted whether Yi-Chen's dragon claw technique was really effective, but Yi-Chen suggested trying it again. However, Xiao was no fool and wouldn't let him steal the watermelon twice. Such scum should be thrown away and left to compensate for her losses. Meanwhile, the mountain worship competition was underway. The Red Dust disciples shouted, who else dares to come up? Even the Grandmaster was a bit overwhelmed. He thought that with fewer people coming this year, it would be easier to deal with things. But a dark horse appeared. This person's quick and unusual moves surprised even Yu Lingxi and Miaohan. Lu Qingshan, the elder of the Red Dust Holy Land, was very satisfied with this and said that his disciples had been a bit too heavy-handed and asked not to take offense. Yi Qingwu prepared to send 2nd sister to the stage to compete, just as Yu Lingxi was reminding them to be careful. Meanwhile, Xingyi received orders and rushed to the back of the mountain and arrived just in time. Otherwise, Yi-Chen might have been in trouble. Xingyi reported that something was not right and wanted Yi-Chen to step in quickly to support the team. Just as Qingxue was about to take the stage, Yi-Chen hurried back and pulled her aside. He then used the supreme pupil technique and discovered some suspicious points. The opponent was actually an experienced expert in disguise. As a result, our disciples usually couldn't withstand more than 2 or 3 moves and would lose. The easy victory made the opponent a bit overconfident. After some careful consideration, Yi-Chen revealed his suspicions and then secretly informed Qingxue about his plan. 2nd sister also stepped forward after receiving some guidance. Qingxue from Xianyao Peak came to seek advice, surprising everyone by not bringing any weapons to the stage. Elder Lu Qingshan thought she was showing off a bit. Qingxue waved her hand gracefully and said, come on, I won't dodge. The opponent then kicked her, but at that moment, Yi-Chen secretly used the break the formation technique. Although the opponent's attack was quite fierce, suddenly his speed couldn't keep up. Qingxue took the opportunity to kick them, and the Red Dust disciples were shocked to find that their secret formation had been broken. The elders on the stage were amazed by Qingxue's performance. The opponent relied on the speed-enhancing formation, but once it was disrupted, their chi circulation became unstable and their speed slowed down. Yi-Chen then attempted to break the illusion mask with his magic, but unexpectedly failed just as he was about to succeed. The opponent returned to their disguised state. Yi-Chen was surprised, and Xiao beside him asked what happened. The Red Dust disciples saw that something was wrong and quickly ran away. The other disciples also witnessed the scene. Grandmaster teased, haha, your disciples are really thin-skinned. They ran away after losing just 1 game. Lu Qingshan could only awkwardly respond, the master said. At the same time, Yi-Chen explained to Xiao, there is a master here. My formation has been broken. No, the person who fired that shot has a higher cultivation base than him. Yi-Chen suddenly ran out with excitement on his face, indicating that he had found the person to take action. It turned out that one of the Red Dust disciples had gone out to the woods to recover from their injuries. The person who had left earlier approached him and respectfully reported a problem on the field. The red-haired person was also surprised that someone could break through this illusion technique and asked him to adjust his breathing carefully and not give others a handle before leaving. However, they did not notice that Yi-Chen was hiding behind the tree and witnessed everything. It was unexpected that the Red Dust Holy Sons, who were only second to the head of the sect, were hiding among the ordinary disciples. It seemed that this play was becoming more and more interesting. At this moment, Yi-Chen and Xiao came to the guest house. It seemed that the Red Dust Holy Land had some conspiracy and was playing tricks around. Unexpectedly, several people dressed in black scattered and followed one person who climbed over the wall and came to the backyard. They saw a person in black holding a map and gesturing before leaving after performing some unknown technique. When they saw the person leave, Yi-Chen and Xiao rushed over to investigate and found a tree root at the location where the person had left, which should be a base point for some formation. Yi-Chen went to Yi-Qingwu's room and proposed a plan that might disrupt their plan. After some discussion, Yi-Qingwu got up and went to prepare. The next day, Yi-Qingwu urgently went to the Grandmaster and reported that they had found the body of a disciple at the foot of the mountain who was killed last night. The Grandmaster was deeply shocked after hearing this news, while the Red Dust disciples behind him were discussing. Qingwu immediately speculated that it might be Snow Eagle Sect's revenge and that there must be some fish that slipped through the net last time, hiding in the mountains and forests, waiting for an opportunity to cause trouble. Beside him, young Qingshan had originally thought that luckily he didn't suspect them, but upon hearing that they were going to protect them, she quickly wanted to refuse. However, after seeing the determination on the sect leader's face, she could only reluctantly agree. Late at night, Elder Yan was prostrate on the ground, stating that Xianyuan Holy Land's arrangement made it impossible for them to make any moves, but there was a black-clothed figure sitting cross-legged at the head of the bed in front of her. This person was none other than the Red Dust Holy Son from earlier. Fortunately, it was only for 3 days, so she ordered the disciples below to keep their energy and prepare. There were heavy guards outside the courtyard where they were staying, and Yi-Chen was currently observing from the rooftop. Today, all of this was part of his plan, but they could only delay for 3 days. Grandmaster shouted unhappily because it had been 2 days, and they had yet to capture the perpetrator. Yi Qingwu could only nod and say that they had identified their target. Then, looking at the person who had just walked out, Qingxue nervously asked about the situation. Yi Qingwu replied, we can't delay any longer. If there are no results tonight, it will be very detrimental to us. She then asked if there was any news from Little Chen's side. If he came out of seclusion, it would be even more secure. In order to counter the Red Dust Holy Land's plan, Yi-Chen was currently closed off in his cave, practicing his swordsmanship. Xiao was anxiously waiting outside, and Miaohan and Yu Lingxi also came to inquire about the situation. It turned out that Yi-Chen had been in seclusion for 3 days already. They were all wondering if they could sneak a peek at something when suddenly the rock wall shattered, and then there was a burst of golden light, and small stones flew around everywhere. Yi-Chen came out with an excited expression on his face. He had finally mastered the Tianxian 9 Swords technique, which was incredibly powerful. However, the explosion just now had left his senior sisters in disarray, and then screams of pain were heard from Yi-Chen's direction. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Red Dust Holy Sons were leisurely drinking tea and saying, today is the end of the 3-day deadline. Let's get ready to arrange the imprisonment divine formation. The next night, Yi-Chen took a few sisters out for a walk, and it seemed to be time to close the net. At the same time, there were several masked young men sneaking out. Just as one of them was about to insert something on the ground, Yi-Chen suddenly appeared and asked, what are you doing running out in the middle of the night? However, the other party was not afraid and rushed towards him, but Yi-Chen didn't tolerate it and just looked at him coldly, then swung his sword. The next moment, a sword aura swept up and rippled through the air. The followers of the Red Dust Holy Sons were sent out to set up a formation, and Elder Yang Qingshan was worried about why they hadn't returned. They have already prepared themselves. If anything happened, they knew what to do. When they heard a commotion outside the door, they went out to see that the several people they sent out had already been caught red-handed. The thief was then escorted by Yi Qingwu and others to this place, and Yi Qingwu asked, what were your disciples doing sneaking out in the middle of the night? Elder Yang Qingshan became uneasy because her worst fear had come true. She pretended to be calm and claimed that these 4 were from the Snow Eagle sect. However, Yi Qingwu's eyes grew cold, and she told Elder Lu to take a closer look and not pretend to be confused. She said that these 4 people were all from the Red Dust Holy Land. Elder Yang Qingshun pretended to be surprised and said it was impossible. She then checked them closely and Grandmaster came over to ask why they were disturbing the guests at this time of night. The sisters explained that they had caught several people plotting something and that they were all disciples of the Red Dust Holy Land. Elder Yang Qingshun immediately admitted that she had not disciplined them well and that they were just 4 small thieves. She then swung her sword and killed them on the spot. Yu Xiaofeng arrived just in time to witness this absurd scene. They claimed that they were cleaning house and giving everyone an explanation. Xiao was not happy with this and pointed out that it was clearly a case of killing to silence them. However, at this moment, Yi Chen appeared behind the Red Dust Holy Sons and they started fighting. Yu Xiaofeng was still a bit confused, but Elder Yang Qingshun was upset because she couldn't express her bitterness. Yi Qingwu also said the 4 people who were just killed were caught by us while setting up the spell. Brother, there is definitely a conspiracy in the Red Dust Holy Land this time. Upon hearing this conversation, Yang Qingshun panicked. What should we do? Should we move ahead? But I'm not ready yet. Meanwhile, the young girl who was fighting in the air was also deeply shocked. He was able to approach me quietly and he was able to take so many moves from me, even though his cultivation level is not high. Why is his move so exquisite? This is not the technique of the Holy Land of Immortal Fate. What is the origin of this kid? And just a short distance away, Ding Weiyang started causing trouble again, bringing Snow Eagle sect into the Holy Land, saying they don't need to be polite and can just attack. As a Holy Son, she saw that Yi Chen was not going down easily, so she immediately used her school's unique skill, the unbeatable diamond, to send Yi Chen flying. Yu Xiaofeng looked gloomy at the sight. This skill can only be taught during the transfer of power in the Red Dust School. Yi Chen looked amused at the situation, thinking that the little fox had finally revealed her tale, revealing that her subordinates referred to her as a Holy Son. Suddenly, a disciple covered in blood ran over. Master, it's not good. The Snow Eagle sect is invading the disciples of Dash. The next moment, he was killed by a flying knife. Immediately, the second bald elder and his men barged in. Grandmaster looked grim. Are you really disregarding the morals of the world by repeatedly making trouble with our Holy Land of Immortal Fate? The bald man burst out laughing and snorted like a pig upon hearing this. Ha ha ha. What? You want to do it again? Weren't you the one who invited us to rob in the first place? Who said we'd split the loot 50-50ths? Those around him immediately frowned, wishing they could beat Grandmaster to a pulp. However, Yi Qingwu was confused and asked, the Holy Land of Immortal Fate is protected by an enchantment. Last time it was Ding Weiyang who brought people in. This time, Ding Weiyang interrupted her halfway and walked out, saying, yes, it was me again. This made Yi Qingwu speechless. Brother, didn't you say you had locked him up at the Cliff of Reflection? How could he? But Ding Weiyang suddenly shouted, shut up. In Sanyuan Holy Land there are 2 people I hate the most. One is you, who took my back. The other is you, who took my front. Therefore, only by destroying you can the hatred in my heart be relieved. Yu Xiaofeng, on the other hand, still didn't understand what was going on and thought about asking the Red Dust Holy Land for help. Yi Chen was speechless. They had clearly conspired together and were planning to attack Sanyuan Holy Land. The other side was dumbfounded when they heard this. Ding Weiyang explained again, don't worry. In the afternoon, each peak will be given a glass of fine wine mixed with poison in the name of the headmaster. Now they are all a pool of mud. Shortly after, the Red Dust Holy Sons were ready to make their move. Although they were unable to complete the formation of the Divine Suppression Array, the absence of several peaks made it less of a threat. Just as things were getting critical, the system issued a new task. Host, now I will issue you the designated sign-in task to protect the people of Yuxiao and help the sacred land of Sanyuan survive this catastrophe. Helping the Holy Land of Sanyuan wasn't a problem, but protecting immortal Yuxiao, well, can I swear not to lay a finger on him? Sanyuan Holy Land is currently under attack from all sides, and Yi Qingwu is leading his disciples to face the enemies head-on. Just as the bald leader of the Snow Eagle sect was about to charge forward, Yi Chen stepped out and pointed his finger, using his 10,000 swords returning to set technique to send countless swords flying towards the enemy. Qingwu was amazed by her son's strength, recognizing the swords as the weapons of their ancestors. Meanwhile, the Red Dust Holy Sons were displeased with the Snow Eagle sect's weakness and ordered their disciples to set up a formation to trap them. The Xiangyao peak was surrounded and trapped, unable to break through the barrier even with Xiao, Yi Qingwu, and Miaohan's attempts. Qingxue explained that the only weakness was the disciples maintaining the formation, but they were currently sealed inside, so attacking them was impossible. Yi Chen tried to use a powerful move to break the formation, but the Red Dust Holy Sons were keeping watch outside and made it difficult for him to do so. Yu Xiaofeng explained that the key to maintaining a complex formation was having an unhurried mind. Yi Chen then came up with a plan to break the formation by pulling off Yu Xiaofeng's robe, causing the person maintaining the formation to vomit and the formation to collapse. Yi Chen and his companions successfully escaped back to Sanyao Peak, where Yi Qingwu immediately ordered the activation of a defensive formation. However, the enemy disciples continued to pursue them, leading to a fatal crash into the defensive barrier. Yi Qingwu was worried about the other 3 peaks and called for reinforcements to be sent immediately. The next moment, a beam of light was emitted from Sanyao Peak. Upon seeing the scene, Ding Weiyang panicked. Meanwhile, the 2 old men were still puzzled and unaware of what was happening. Ding Weiyang quickly explained that it was a signal to recall disciples. Upon hearing this, the Red Dust Holy Sons paid no attention and prepared to control the 3 peaks. Ding Weiyang intended to speak further, but he was grabbed by the Red Dust Holy Sons, who warned him to watch his tone. The Red Dust Holy Sons then ordered his subordinates to quickly go to the 3 peaks and take them over. The old man even boasted that he could do it in the time it takes to burn a stick of incense. On Sanyao Peak, Qingxue and her people completed the signal transmission and saw Yi Chen behaving suspiciously. She followed him and asked what he was doing. Yi Chen explained that he wanted to change into Snow Eagle sect clothes and launch a surprise attack. Qingxue argued that it was too dangerous and he shouldn't act like a thief. However, Yi Chen understood that if he asked for permission, they would not agree. He preferred to take the initiative and attack first. Suddenly, Qingxue asked if there were any clothes left. At the same time, the other 3 peaks were suffering from endless slaughter and destruction. The enemies were like wolves entering a sheepfold, committing arson, murder, and looting. Snow Eagle sect disciples reported the situation to the old man and launched an attack on Sanyao Peak. The old man had evil intentions, and suddenly a disciple reported that Yi Qingwu and her people were approaching from the rear mountain. He urgently ordered someone to intercept them. At night, several people approached the water's edge near the pool in the back mountain. The old man asked where they were and why they came here. Suddenly, the water in the pool surged and 2 water tornadoes emerged. The other party instantly realized that this was a trap and immediately wanted to take people to escape. The person who fell behind was immediately hit by a sword. Then, countless precious swords flew over like raindrops, and the disciples with lower cultivation were directly eliminated. The bald old man saw this technique and guessed that it was Yi Chen's doing. He was so angry that he cursed loudly. Ha ha ha, is that all you've got, you bastard? Come out and fight me in the flesh if you dare. What kind of hero is hiding in the shadows and attacking with a sword? However, before he finished speaking, a sword pierced him from behind. He quickly turned around and attacked back. You're playing dirty and not following the code of martial arts. Yi Chen appeared with Xingyi and second sister Qingxue. Seeing that the other party dared to curse, was about to draw her sword and attack the thief. However, Yi Chen grabbed her. She didn't understand why she was stopped, thinking they could handle the enemy in batches. They didn't expect to catch 2 big fish at once. The Red Dust Holy Sons had already anticipated that he had some plans. The bald old man was overjoyed to see his ally and wanted to team up to kill Yi Chen. Little Red Riding Hood prepared to set up a formation and asked the bald old man to cooperate with her. Just when he was wondering how to cooperate, his body suddenly swelled up. He never realized until his death that he had been used. The Red Dust Holy Land had many formation methods, including a vicious sacrificial formation. The next moment, the bald old man exploded like a human bomb.